Thank you so much for joining us on another amazing episodes of Bioenergetic Beats. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner. And this episode is brought to you today by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better based life in your hands and on your wrist. Um, it's easily affordable, and make sure that you're going to stick around to the very, very end because, well, first off, you're not going to want to miss one thing that my next guest is going to want to talk about. But we also have an amazing giveaway at the end of every show. So make sure to stay tuned, listen through the end, and this is going to be exciting. Let's welcome Sophie Shepherd to the show today. Yay!
Hey everyone, I'm happy to be here.
This is awesome. So Miss Sophie is a fellow FDN like myself. We are a mighty, mighty network and doing amazing things in this world. And I actually got to meet her in person and spend a little one-on-one time with her a couple weeks ago. And we very kindred spirits, you and I.
Definitely.
So really clicked. I'm excited for you all to get to know her as well. So Miss Sophie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Most people kind of have a pain to purpose story on why they get into this type of line of work. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my story really started when I was in high school. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, which is when you have a lot of gut symptoms, is what I learned. I was dealing with colonoscopies and endoscopies when I was 15 and 16 years old, which is something you shouldn't have to deal with until you're in your 60s at least. And I was the girl with all the gut issues, all the anxiety. And it just continued like that until I got out of college. Actually, I was 22. I was in a relationship with someone who was verbally and emotionally pretty abusive, actually. And that created a lot of stress in my life. And at that time, my hair started to fall out. I gained 40 pounds and I didn't know why. I was eating healthy and all the things. And yeah, from there, my depression kicked in. I just was really a shell of who I was. I was so fatigued. I would say, like, I would sleep for 12 hours and then I would get up and it felt like I hadn't slept at all. It was a pretty rough and dark time for me. And I was 22, so I was just trying to like live my best life in New York City at the time. And I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And she told me, that all my symptoms were probably in my head and that I was just depressed. But it turned out I actually had a disease that had a medication. And so I jumped for joy because I didn't make it up, only to find out 6 months later that medication wasn't really going to fix the problem and that there was deeper root causes to the hypothyroidism and the Hashimoto's. And so I went on a journey to fix it and to heal and found someone who would actually listen to me and actually helped me get to my root causes, heal my gut, heal the anxiety, and heal the thyroid. And so from there, I realized that there was so many more people just like me who really, really needed my help and that I wasn't the only one dealing with all of these symptoms and these issues. And yeah, several years later, decided to make the jump into becoming an FDN and haven't really looked back since.
That's awesome. So you talked a little bit about the fatigue and sleeping for 12 hours and not feeling like that you were rested. Could you dive a little deeper? Because, today's episode, we're talking about energy. So tell us a little bit, how that had affected your life and, what were you not able to do because of the level of fatigue and then kind of where you're at now.
I was at the point with the fatigue where if I picked up my handbag, it felt like a brick. I mean, it was, and there wasn't a lot of stuff in there. It was so bad. It was debilitating. And just give you a little bit more backstory on me, because I know that you also like to play with humor and things as well. I was in the theater world. So I had studied to become a theater person and I had put a lot of time and energy into it. And here I was, the precipice, working on Broadway at the time as a theater professional. And I wasn't motivated. I wasn't excited. This was my dream since I was 15 years old. And I couldn't even enjoy it because I was so fatigued that I would fall asleep. I remember I literally fell asleep backstage during a live performance of an off-Broadway show. I mean, this was a decade ago, but I still remember like it was yesterday. So it was pretty devastating for me because I had worked so hard to get here and now I was there and I couldn't even enjoy my career or my friends. I would turn down dates and all these different things just because I was so fatigued. So it really it impacted everything in my life. It was probably the biggest symptom problem outside the gut. And now, yeah, now it's great. I sleep well, I wake up, I have energy. I know what to do if I ever have a flare or if I have stress that comes in that creates more inflammation in my body. As FDNs, we're trained in all those stressors, and so if those things come up, I know I have the tools to rectify it. And now I feel like I have my Sophie sparkle back, my shine.
Sophie Sparkle. I can't help but wonder because now that I've been performing and in some of these theaters, a lot of them are moldy. And I can't help but wonder if you also had a little mold exposure sprinkled on top of everything else that you're going with at that time.
I think that now that I know, absolutely. Also, the apartment that I was living in New York
Uh,
City,
yeah.
totally moldy. I'm actually about to run a total tox on myself this week so that I can see where I'm at in the mold journey. But I definitely had all of the infections when I got diagnosed.
Yeah, I need to do that one. I haven't done that one on myself in a while either. That's a good call. Although I've been told to wait like a month after been exposed, and I just recently had a known exposure in my home for the last 3 months. I'm still
Yeah.
dealing with some of that fallout, but yeah, maybe in the next couple of months. So this is a good spot. We're gonna pause real quick for a commercial. When we come back, I want to dive deeper into some of those root causes that were causing her fatigue. Of course energy is one of my favorite ones on the Nikki. I always tell the funny story of like we used to go grocery shopping Wednesday night, and I'm normally a happy-go-lucky person, but when I'm tired, I can be a little on the snarky side. And I was not very nice to the cashiers, by the time we would get done. And so I was like, ooh, this is gonna be the ultimate experiment. And I remember hitting energy before going grocery shopping. And I remember being my fun, playful self with these people at the end, and it didn't even dawn on me till we were driving home, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I wasn't." This is kind of horrible to have to say. I wasn't snarky to a cashier today, but so the energy thing is, the struggle is real, people, and so yeah, let's stay tuned real quick. We'll be right back.
My Nikki helps me sleep better at night and helps me feel less stressed.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki, the bioenergetic wearable designed to help you feel better and perform better. Other wearables just track how you're doing. Nikki is about helping you do better. Touch the Nikki screen to choose the frequency you want for what you want to do and how you want to feel. Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com.
Hey, I'm Steve. I'm an engineer, a biohacker, and a dad, and I love my Nikki. I use 3 different programs on this one mostly. In the mornings, I run Energy Boost, which honestly is about the equivalent of a cup of coffee. I still have my coffee, but this does make a difference. After work, I run my stress and anxiety program, and that takes me from being like, task mode from work to really kind of chilled out dad mode, which is nice. And occasionally, when I need it, I run the pain program as well. I actually tore my ACL last September, middle of September, and I was running again by middle of October. No surgery, no therapy, just the pain program once a day. So I've worked with red light therapy for several years now, and like I said, this is just about my favorite because it is so easy to use. I just put it on my wrist in the morning, run it all day. Don't even notice it's there except for how I feel. So I love it.
Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com.
Awesome. Hopefully you're enjoying the show so far. I surely am. Energy, man, nothing gets done if you don't have enough energy. Brain power, body power, none of it. So dive deeper. Let's find out what was some of the root causes that you didn't have any energy, and how is it that you work with folks?
Yeah, I found it was multifaceted, as it always is in functional root cause health. I think one of the biggest places, there were kind of, I think, three places where the root cause for me was, and also what I see in every client. So one was the amount of toxic load that we kind of talked about before the break. I had parasites, I had bacteria, I had fungal overgrowth. I had a lot of heavy stress load in terms of microbial imbalances in my body. I think that the gut is where we also absorb all of our nutrients from. So I had severe leaky gut, so I wasn't really absorbing the nutrients I was even eating. And I also had this issue with how much toxicity, and the toxicity really creates a lot of stress in the body. And when we have any sort of stress in the body, it's going to suck up our energy sources to deal with it. So I think toxic load was a big root cause for me, and it's definitely a first step that I work with people on, looking at the gut, looking at what their toxic load is, maybe running a total tox or mycotox or an organic acid test just to see what they're personally dealing with. The other part I kind of alluded to, which was the malabsorption, but also higher than that, just nutrients. I mean, when I first got diagnosed and was dealing with all this stuff, I was a 22-year-old kid. I didn't know anything. I was eating bagels and pizza and, McDonald's and all these different things. I didn't know that there was actually power in food. I didn't know that food could actually help energize me. And I remember when I finally got on a food plan that worked for me, Heather, literally within 2 days, my energy increased by about 50%. It was like magic. I was like, what's happening? How can I possibly feel this good so fast? So that was a huge step for me, was getting on the right nutrition. And now in practice, one of the things that I like to do is look at mineral balancing from the beginning. And what I've found, especially for people who are fatigued, is that they are so deficient in these crucial minerals, usually magnesium, sodium, and potassium. And we just cannot have energetic potential if we don't have those minerals, because sodium and potassium, for example, have a pump system that's creating electricity and energy in our body all of the time. And what I find more often than not, people think that they have too much sodium, but their sodium's always tanked on this test. So giving them exactly what they need, using the testing to get clear on that through nutrition, through supplements, and that's what I did for myself, and that really helped. And then the third piece is the emotional component. Every single person that I've worked with had a major stress or stressors emotionally in their life prior to getting diagnosed with insert the issue, whether it was Hashimoto's or gut issue or hormone imbalance. They've all had major stressors in their life. And I got to the point even with my FDN credentialing and all the labs and nutrition things where people were hitting roadblocks. And it was because I didn't yet have the tools to help them with their emotional body. I didn't have the tools to help them to release emotions from their body, to help them to rewire their brain towards what they want, and to release the stories of being sick. And once I got that on board, everyone's results, including my own, just skyrocketed, because we're not holding on to the energetic baggage of all of these stressors and traumas that we've experienced.
So what were some of the nervous system retraining or the mindset stuff? What were some of the modalities that you went through?
So I'm trained as a neurolinguistics programming life coach, hypnosis, and I also use internal family systems or parts work. I use inner child work. I have nervous system regulation and somatics. So I kind of just went ham because I am a tools person. I like being resourced, because for so long I didn't have the resources to help the people that I wanted to help. And what I find is that most people need all of these things in some combination. There's a lot going on right now around nervous system regulation, pulling on your ear, chapping your chest, putting your legs up the wall, all these things. And that is great. And it's just the first step. First, we have to find safety in the body. And that can be through some of these nervous system regulation tools. And then the second step of that, though, needs to be the deeper part, which is, what are our triggers? What is creating the stress? And how can we rewire the brain? I use a tool called quantum time technique. It's, I would say, similar to EMDR. I've had people who've done EMDR and QTT and have said that QTT has been more powerful for them because it rewires the brain towards what they want. And when we've done that, I've had clients who have lost 100 pounds because we finally were able to release the stuff that they were holding on to, and they're able to make the behavior change that they wanted to do to see the results that they're having. So it's a combination of many modalities that I've been trained in over the years.
Isn't that most of us? And it makes me so frustrated sometimes, especially when doctors kind of still poo-poo wanting to work with this. But it's like, do you realize how much money I like not had a real vacation? Don't buy myself nice things because I keep putting it back into this certification, that certification, this certification. Like we could probably like play a nice little card game with all the certifications that we have, go fish, but yeah, and then we keep going because we're just continually searching for the truth and the best ways to help people out there. And that's another reason why I like the Nikki so much, is because it's that kind of easy, go in, but it's gentle, right? So it's not going to hurt a lot of people. But I love that you put all those modalities together. That's incredible. So can I tell us a little bit about like, what are you working on these days? What are you putting out in the world?
I have two really exciting things that are going on in the world. One is in the Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism sphere. So I have a program that's a group hybrid, and I also have a one-to-one option there where I'm actually getting to help people at that root cause level with both the optimizing your nutrition, the detox, and also the emotional part of the healing journey. And it's really exciting to see these women who have been told like, oh, I'm always going to always have this diagnosis, I'm always going to feel sick, just completely thrive. So that program is called She Thrives. And it's just like my heart and my soul. And I love it so much because I think there's I don't know, now it's 7 to 10 times more likely for a woman to have Hashimoto's. So we're working with these women there's millions of them, to help them to lose weight, clear the brain fog, regrow their hair, have great digestion, and have this amazing energy. And so every time we get to walk someone through that, it's like I get to see my own transformation happen again and again. So that's really exciting. And then I also just created a 12-week transformational cellular detox program that fuses nervous system and somatics with a friend, Erica Hepperly. And she's a somatic wellness expert. And that's been really incredible because we're fusing all of the science and the nerdy stuff that we know in FDN with the body-based tools and the nervous system regulation-based tools for people to feel safe in their bodies. And like last night, we just did, I taught about nutrition, and then Erica taught about the emotional healing parts and how to deal with emotional eating and grounding that into the body so that they can change the way that they think about food on a cellular level, not just through the thinking and through the brain and through the food list, but actually at a cellular level. So those two things are just lighting me up so much right now.
I can tell, like, you do have a Sophie sparkle. Like, granted, when we got to spend time together, it was like after 5 days of a very intense conference. But yeah, I've not seen this side of you before, so yeah, you are definitely lit up. That's for sure. So then, where can people find out more about you if they want to check you out?
Yeah, so everything is through my company is called She Talks Health. So you can go to the website. You can go same name for the podcast. I also have a podcast where I talk about all these amazing things related to women's health and thyroid health. So She Talks Health podcast. The Instagram is the same. And we also have a link for you guys. It's shetalkshealth.com/call if you would like to have a free discovery call with me where we can talk about how I can dive in deeper and support you with your health, no matter what it is that you are struggling with.
Awesome. And make sure that you also visit wearenikki.com/podcast and enter in BioBeats for 10% off. And because, like I said, we really love our customers, and the way we show appreciation is we give away a free Nikki device and a wellness set of frequencies on every episode. It's a $597 value. And so if you want to enter that, make sure to go to the show notes, check out Sophie, and enter in for the big giveaway. Good luck, and make sure to have a healthy day. Thanks again.
Hey, it's Cam here, and I just want to take a few minutes and talk about my experience with this new device I just got. It's called a Nikki. I've never heard of this, but it actually helps you via frequencies. And the cool thing is that each frequency helps for different outcomes or different reliefs. So there's a sleep mode. When I go mountain biking, I throw it on Energy Booster. Once I'm done mountain biking, I actually switch it to the other mode they have, is pain and relief. Anytime after a hard workout, put it on. I'm confident this thing is really going to work based off of what I'm hearing, based off what I'm feeling. So I think the website is really affordable for what this thing is. Nice and sleek. Check it out. We are Nikki. I've been loving it so far.
Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com.
For someone thinking of purchasing a device, what advice would you give them?
Do it. Just do it. It's I really have explored so many way between essential oils. I mean, much of what the speaker said tonight, it's been my journey through the years. This is by far the quickest, the most painless. It's just really, for me, it was a synchronistic meeting, and I ended up being blessed with the device. So I feel that, universe is saying, we want you around for a while.
Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.